All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore a really fascinating concept from ancient Pali texts that feels more relevant than ever. It's called vimokha. And that word, vimokha, essentially means liberation or release. But, as you're about to see, this isn't just one simple idea. It's a whole incredibly detailed map to freedom that was charted for us thousands of years ago.
So let me just ask you, what does it mean to be truly free? We all think about this, right? But are we talking about money, or getting away from our responsibilities, or is there something deeper? Well, an ancient text called the Paṭisambhidāmagga, and yeah, I know that's a mouthful, it offers this surprisingly detailed answer. It treats liberation not as some vague dream, but as a real psychological state you can actually get to know.
Okay, so the text starts us off with three fundamental gateways, three doors to freedom. You can think of them as three different ways of seeing, three different key insights that all unlock the same place. So let's go ahead and open each one and take a look at what's inside. Door number one is sunyatata vimokko. That's liberation through emptiness. Now, I know what you're thinking. Emptiness sounds kind of bleak, maybe a little scary, but that's not it at all. It's about this powerful insight that there's no fixed, permanent me at the center of it all. Nothing you can point to and say, that's mine forever. The freedom in that is just immense. It's the relief of finally putting down this heavy, exhausting project of defending a self that was never really solid to begin with.
The second door is anitmito vimokko, liberation through signlessness. You know how our minds are constantly grabbing onto the features of things, the signs, like this is beautiful, that's ugly, I want this, I hate that. Well, signlessness is about seeing past those labels. It's like you stop just reacting to the sign that says delicious cake and you start seeing the flour, the sugar, the eggs, what's actually there. You're just not hooked by that surface-level appearance anymore.
And that brings us to our third door, apanihito vimokko, liberation through desirelessness. This one is all about dropping that mental habit of constantly wanting something in the future. And no, it's not about becoming a passionless robot. It's more like a deep contentment with what is, a feeling of being so complete in this moment that the mind just stops restlessly searching for the next thing. You're free from that constant pull of wanting.
So, you've got emptiness, signlessness, and desirelessness. Three doors. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? Well, this is where the map just unfolds into something truly breathtaking. Because the people who wrote this didn't just point to the doors, they charted every single path, every valley, every peak of the liberated mind. They did not stop there, not even close.
So, how detailed are we talking? The Paṭisambhidāmagga doesn't just outline three kinds of freedom. It lays out 68, yes, you heard me right, 68 distinct types and subtypes of liberation. This goes way beyond philosophy. This is like a forensic analysis of a free mind.
And what's really cool is how it breaks it all down. It often uses these contrasting pairs to show you the different, let's call them flavors, of freedom. For instance, shakeable versus unshakable liberation. A shakeable freedom might be a beautiful, peaceful state you find in meditation. But when the meditation is over and life happens, it can fade. Unshakable freedom, that's the kind that once you taste it, it changes your operating system. It can't be taken away from you.
Now, to make sense of all 68 types, the text gives us some really helpful ways to categorize them. And one of the most important distinctions it makes is about where we put our focus. Are we looking for freedom inside our own experience or somewhere beyond it?
This breaks down into two major routes. The internal path, Ajjahatavutano, is all about finding freedom by mastering what's happening inside your own mind and body. Think of those incredibly deep states of meditation, the jhanas. Then you have the external path, Bahiddhavutano. This is about finding freedom by going beyond form itself, entering these formless realms of infinite space, infinite consciousness, and even beyond that. But here's the thing. Even these profound, mind-blowing states, they aren't the final destination. The text makes one more, absolutely critical distinction, the one that points to the ultimate goal of this entire journey.
So this is the big one, the difference between worldly and supramundane liberation. Think of it like this: climbing a mountain. Worldly liberation is like reaching a beautiful camp high up on the slopes. The view is amazing, you're free from all the struggles down below, but it's temporary. You eventually have to come back down. Supramundane liberation, that's the summit. That is the irreversible freedom of Nibbana. Once you see the world from there, your perspective is permanently changed. That is the unshakable ultimate freedom the whole map is pointing toward.
Okay, this all sounds pretty sublime, I get it. But how do you actually get there? How do you even open those first 3 doors we talked about? Well, the map isn't just a map, it's also an instruction manual.
And here's where it all connects so beautifully. The path begins by just looking at reality as it is. When you truly see anicca, impermanence, that everything is constantly changing, you naturally stop clinging to those fleeting signs. And boom, that leads to signless liberation. When you understand dukkha, the stress that's baked into all that clinging, you start to let go of wanting things to be different. And there you have it, desireless liberation. And finally, when you see anatta, not self, you realize the inherent emptiness in everything, and that opens the door to liberation through emptiness.
So as we start to bring this all together, it's pretty clear, right? This ancient document isn't just some dusty academic list. It's dynamic, living, incredibly precise psychological map. It shows us where we are, it shows us where we can go, and it shows us the exact paths to take us from the subtle prisons of our own minds to a state of profound, real, and lasting freedom.
And it's so important to remember this isn't just an intellectual game. This quote from the text itself makes that crystal clear. By attending to not self, one full of feeling attains the liberation of emptiness. It's about attending, about seeing for yourself, about looking deeply into your own experience with wisdom, not just believing in an idea. So what we're left with is this intricate, profound, and amazingly practical guide. It shows us that freedom isn't just one single destination. It's a whole landscape with many roads, some temporary, some ultimate, some internal, some external. So the only question that's really left is the one it asks us. This ancient map shows so many roads to freedom. Which one begins with your next step?